Hello, 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 and welcome to Bub's World. I'm your host, Bub, and today we have a very special treat for you. It's another item I picked up at Heroes Con. This is the little special item that I've been teasing you with for a week now. So there were several booths that had things that were in addition to general comic books. This guy's booth I came to, and he had tons of comics. I didn't end up buying any comics from him. He also had some collectibles, didn't end up buying a whole lot of collectibles, but he had some albums there, not music albums, but albums of art and different printed art. So I went through and I saw one with a big Superman symbol on it. And I opened it up, and lo and behold, I found original newspaper printings of Superman from the 40s. So that really intrigued me. I like collecting newspapers. Maybe you can't see them. I got a stack right there of newspapers, and I have a big book of reprinted newspapers. But I always am on the lookout for originals. So without further ado, let's see what I got.
You're watching Bub's Comics, Bub.
All right. So here we are. It's Superman. If you don't like Superman, you're in the wrong place. But here is the Knoxville Journal with the Superman. This one's from Sunday, October 6, 1940. From the Tennessee Valley's greatest newspaper, the Knoxville Journal. So let's make me small and get to this haul. Yo! Y'all will have to forgive me a little bit. I struggled mightily to get a camera angle that would work for this, and I still don't know if I have. How about that? There you go. We'll try that. So here is the Knoxville Journal and the front page Superman. Now, if you're looking at this and you're thinking, well, that's not like a full-size newspaper, it's not. This is a tabloid size comics edition. So in the Sunday papers, there were lots of different ways that they formatted the Sunday paper when it came to comics. So this one is a tabloid edition. So what that means is that if you have one that has a fold in the middle and opens up and is, is available to read like a standard newspaper would be, some of you kids wouldn't even know what that's like. But reading a full-size newspaper, it'll have a big crease right down the middle. So, and it'd be double this size. So like an average newspaper is going to be like this size, right? A full page would be like this. And then there'd be another one this way. So the tabloid size is half that size. And it's an insert into the Sunday paper. And what's nice is that they keep a little better because they don't have that big crease in the middle. So several of the newspapers that the guy had were just single pages, and that's common for full-size editions. You only get single pages. One nice thing about full size versus tabloid size is that on the tabloids, they sometimes would cut out some panels, because if you see, it's very uniform, and it had to fit into this shape because of the size of the tabloid, the size of the paper. And as you know, comic strips were long form often, and they would have additional panels added, and the illustrator often knew that there would be panels that might get cut out. So there's always some non-key story panels in every long form, and they would cut those out for the tablet form. So you can look at it as kind of incomplete, but it's not. This is the way this was printed, and there may be another version of it somewhere, of the story somewhere, that has one or two additional panels, but not likely. It was likely printed just like this, and it never made it past the publisher with those additional panels. So little fact about tabloids for you. Really, really nice way to keep these, because they fit in life-size magazine bags and boards, and that's really nice. And also the top loaders, so it's easier to store these. When you start getting into newspapers, they get very difficult to store because they bend and they're brittle. And this is from 1940. So it's very easy for this to be a rough piece of paper, but it's not. It's soft, it's supple, it's got plenty of moisture. We're digging it. All right, so let's take a closer look. Tennessee Valley, greatest newspaper, the Knoxville Journal, just a few hours from me. Superman by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Unknown to Lois Lane and Clark Kent. Their guide, Leif Cram. Is that right? Yeah, Leif Cram. Oh my goodness. Has promised Silas Pierce that the two reporters will not live long enough to set eyes upon Lois's inherited property. So there you go. Lois inherited some property, and we're moving down the coast here. So obviously these we printed, you know, it was a periodical would come out and they would print these. So we get some good canoe action with Lois and Clark. Of course, you know, the guy purposefully messes with the boat to make sure that they don't make it to their destination. You can see Lois looks like she banged her head on the rock, and she gets swept away. And already you can see that Superman has changed into his super attire. So Clark Kent is now them there Superman. You see him in a Superman costume. And there you go. There's some more. But two ladies' fingertips. He must fly to reach her. Look at that. Superman takes a last desperate dive. So it'd be interesting to check if this is prior to his ability to fly or not. Probably at this time he could not fly. He could only do leaps and bounds, as it were. If I fail to reach her now, it means her death on the jagged rocks below. Look at that. And a little bit of good girl art there, I think. So, and great Superman costume, got the S on the chest. Some of the other pages that he had didn't even have Superman in costume. It was just like a Clark Kent panel. So I really wanted to get something that had everything. Has Lois, damsel in distress, a saving moment, classic saving moment, Superman changing into his, it just had it all. This guy had probably 30 to choose from. And my poor wife and also Russ sat there while I went through each and every one to see which one it was that I was going to bring home. I just wanted to bring one home, and if I see the guy again, I'll pick up another. This is another one of those rabbit hole type things where once you get into this type of newspaper, it will consume you and you can pick up a ton of it, and you end up with stacks and stacks of unmanageable collections. So I like to keep a collection manageable. That's why I go after these tabloid sizes, basically exclusively. I don't hunt anything that folds in the middle. It's too brittle, it breaks too easy, and it's very difficult to enjoy it. And I like opening these and reading them. So here we have a Etiquette by Paul Robinson. Some good stuff there. We have an Always Belittling by Percy Crosby. And you'll see a few more that you'll recognize here in a minute. A little bit of tanning on the edge there, not too bad. Look at this, some awesome. There's Room and Board by Gene Ahern, maybe? Ahern? But this is another reason why I picked this one, because it not only gave me a great Superman story, but a great Dick Tracy as well. Now, unlike the Superman, I gave in a little on this one because I did want to get a Dick Tracy that had his classic getup. And in this one, he's just wearing a black suit. You don't see the hat. But at the bottom, there's some caricatures and there's Dick Tracy in his hat. So I settled for that. And it's pretty cool anyway. All right, we got some Room and Board here. That's, of course, Chester Gould there on the Dick Tracy. Little Orphan Annie. Anybody into that? Here's just some Little Orphan Annie. We got Barney Baxter. That's by Frank Miller. Maybe a different Frank Miller. Considering the age of this. 1940. I don't know if Frank Miller was doing comic strips in the 40s. The Frank Miller you're thinking of. Here's Blondie by Chick Young. Classic Sunday comic. Here is Ace of the Stratosphere. Tommy Tomlinson. Look at that. And of course, what's cool is that they're referencing, like, this is a period piece, 1935. That was 5 years ago, you know. And then he brings you all the way up to 1940. So this is pretty cool. And of course, it wouldn't be a children's magazine without some Camel cigarettes. Shout out to Tylox the Mighty, smoking his Camels. 5 extra smokes per pack with a slow draw. You get that extra slow draw. Very cool. And I really wanted a Thimble Theater starring Popeye. So of course, Thimble Theater was the original comic strip that Popeye debuted in as one of Olive Goyle's boyfriends. So you get some great Popeye action there. Some Wimpy. This is good stuff. Pooey. That's just great. I love it. I really wanted, so my requirements were that I wanted Thimble Theater, I wanted Dick Tracy, and I wanted Superman. All in the same newspaper. Then we have Polly and her pals. Very cool stuff. A little risque there. Captain Jammer Kids. We have Moon Mullins right here. A short little Kitty Higgins. And the Gumps. Not to be confused with Forrest. And I think that's it. And then we have Seeing Stars by Feg Murray. And there's a little like trying to get you to, you know, set up with all that. There's a nice Shirley Temple stamp, Walt Disney. Cool stuff. Some golf. There you go. Lionel Barrymore. Very cool. So there you go. The Knoxville Journal, Sunday, October 6, 1940. Rush out to your newsstand today and pick you up a copy. You won't regret it. All right, I hope y'all appreciated that. Yo! I just wanted to share that with you guys. I know that it's different than comics, but it's kind of the same. And to me, this is where it all began. So when we talk about comic book collecting, we're, you know, to leave out the idea that all this art were in comic strips first and get these 1940s Supermans, and this is where the love, this is where it infected the home. This is where when the paper came home and there was something for the kids tossed at the kids, here, read this, enjoy this, you know, this is what it was about. And if you get a chance to add some of these to your collection, I highly recommend it. It's a period piece, it's a conversation piece. People gravitate towards these. They may not understand all the cool stuff you have in the wall and things in slabs, but if you've got a couple of newspapers laying around from 1940, that grabs the attention of everybody. So I highly recommend it, if nothing more than a party trick to amaze your friends. There you go, the Knoxville Journal, Sunday, October 6th, 1940, starring front page Superman. All right, we'll catch you next time. Remember to read a comic or a comic strip. And the best thing, there's no glare. There's no glare on the comic strips. But if there is any, don't apologize for it. All right, catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Now subscribe, you egg-sucking pieces of gutter trash. Now.